Welcome to the heart of creativity and innovation.
From the heart of Christ University to the world.
Step into the future of media.
Bridging the gap between campus and industry.
Welcome to a new wave in media.
The My Podcast, where passion meets progress.
Welcome to Landmark Cases. In this program, where we dive into landmark cases that shaped the legal world as we know it in India today. Today's episode, we'll discuss the case that changed insanity defense law. Picture this, it's year 1843 in London. A man named Daniel McNaghten stands trial for murder. But this isn't just any trial. This case would go to and redefine criminal responsibility and sets the standards for insanity defense across the world. But what exactly happened, and why did McNaghten's case leave such a lasting impact? Today we'll break down the events leading up to this historical trial, what was said in that crowded courtroom, and how McNaghten's defense paved the way for a legal concept that we now know as McNaghten Rule. We'll also explore this case changed the insanity defense, raising difficult question about accountability, mental health and justice. Part 1. The crime and the man behind it. To understand the case, we have to go back to Daniel McNaghten himself. Born in Scotland, McNaghten led a quiet life as a woodturner. But something changed, something that would lead him to shoot a man he believed to be a political enemy. He was suffering from intense delusion, convinced that the government was out to get him. What led McNaghten to commit this act, and how did his mental state become the focal point of his defense? McNaghten's case was shocking for its time. People were horrified by the crime, but as details of his mental health came out, society began to ask, should a man in this mental condition be held accountable? Part 2. The trial and the birth of McNaghten Rule. When McNaghten stood trial, his lawyers argued that he was suffering from severe mental illness. He was delusional, out of touch with reality. He could really understand the wrongfulness of his action. The court's decision to acquit him on grounds of insanity sparked controversy and led to the House of Lords developing the McNaghten Rule. Gentlemen of the jury, we argued that Mr. McNaghten, suffering from delusion, could not comprehend the nature of his crime. His mind was clouded by an illness beyond his control. Under the McNaghten Rule, a person could be declared insane if they could not understand the nature of their action or couldn't distinguish right from wrong. It was a crucial moment, setting a precedent that influenced insanity defenses in countries worldwide. Part 3. The legacy and debate. So what's the legacy of McNaghten Rule? On one hand, it introduced a critical standard for mental illness in courtroom, but over time, many questioned its limitations. Does it fairly consider the complexities of mental health, and how do modern courts review the rule today? While the McNaghten Rule was groundbreaking, mental health professionals today argue that it oversimplifies what's really going on in the mind of someone with severe mental illness. It asks a binary question of did they know right from wrong, when often the answer is far more nuanced. The principles of McNaghten Rule, which become the base of Section 84 of Indian Penal Code, allowing the defense of insanity to be used in criminal trials. Join us next week as we dive into another case that forever altered the course of legal history. Until then, thank you for tuning into Law and Disorder. Remember to subscribe and stay curious.
Welcome to the heart of creativity and innovation.
From the heart of Christ University to the world.
Step into the future of media.
Bridging the gap between campus and industry.
Welcome to a new wave in media.
The Mic Podcast, where passion meets progress.